is, Coach Bobby Bowden's passing is something that really is saddens all of college football. This guy was probably the greatest ambassador, at least in my view, or one of the great ambassadors of all time, because he coached. He had success coaching, but he was also one of the greatest people and set an outstanding example for everyone in our profession in terms of you don't have to dislike somebody, you don't have to discredit somebody that you're competing against. That your example of being a good person is something that can help us all professionally. He wasn't always just about him. He was always about helping other people. And our thoughts and prayers go out to his family and friends. This is a very sad time for all of us, but Coach Bowden leaves a legacy that a lot of us can continue to learn from and grow from, and something that will never be forgotten. So really sorry for him and his family, and our thoughts and prayers are with them. I think everybody knows this story, but I think it's still worth telling, because there's not very many people in the world that would have that kind of compassion for somebody else. When Coach Bowden was an assistant coach at West Virginia University, and I think Jim Carlin was the head coach, he kind of recruited the area that I grew up in West Virginia, which was pretty rural. And, I think we had 3 players from my era that played at West Virginia University that were really good players and all ended up making All-American. That Coach Bowden recruited, that my dad actually coached in Pop Warner. So they knew each other much better than I knew Coach Bowden as a high school player growing up. But my first year of being a graduate assistant, when my father passed away, and I was at Kent State being a graduate assistant for Don James. And, one day the phone rings and it's Coach Bowden, and he says, "I know your father passed away. I know your mom might be struggling. If you feel like you need to come closer to home," because Morgantown was like 25 miles from where I grew up, I have a job for you here if you need to do that. So I was like, wow, this guy's the head coach at West Virginia University, and has that much compassion for my family and our situation and our circumstance and my mother. Not very many people would do something like that. So, but I think that was a reflection of what kind of person he was. I've always tried to emulate Coach Bowden in terms of the class that he represented his organization with. Seldom said a bad word about anybody. Was always very kind and upbeat to everybody that he ever met, and was always that way with me. And I would talk to him on occasion about things that I had questioned about professionally. And there's probably not many in this profession that I have more respect for than Coach Bowden, not only as a coach, not only what he sort of accomplished on the field, but the kind of person he was, the kind of character he had, and the class that he sort of exemplified as